Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of my two-part video entitled Reasons Why Fintechs Will Win. So, if you haven't seen part 1, I have a link in the description so you can start with part 1. But this is part 2 of this series, which is why I am beginning with reason number 6. 5 other obvious reasons have been said in my part 1. So, why do I believe that fintechs will win? Well, the first reason is better deals. Fintechs are able to provide customers with much better deals than legacy banks. And that is because they use tech, right? They scale an app throughout hundreds of millions of people eventually. And so that comes with cost deflation. When you scale through tech, you don't scale with employees. You need much fewer employees, very few employees. You don't scale with physical facilities. Like there's no way a legacy bank could grow as fast as a fintech. No way, because they have to build these buildings, and it takes months to build just one, right? They need very little capital. Customer acquisition cost is $5, and then they rent a bunch of their IT infrastructure with infrastructure as a service and over as a service software. They rent much of their IT infrastructure, while legacy bank have it on premise oftentimes, and it's often a legacy with a legacy code and other issues. So there's a lot of cost savings going on in the structure of fintechs that you don't have in the structure of legacy banks. Because as legacy banks grow, their costs inflate as well. You know, when you grow a legacy bank, i.e. a branch network, you have more employees, more branches that need to be built and or upgraded, right? Sometimes they'll tear down a branch and build a brand new one. You need debt to do that, to be able to grow. Oftentimes, if you don't take debt directly to build these branches, you're going to do dilutive M&A, like M&A that is going to hurt your shareholders. And you need to build on top of legacy infrastructure, which is not native to users of as-a-service solutions. So what difference does it make for deals? Well, you get a much better deal as a customer when you go with a fintech, because the cost savings flow to the customers, right? The fintech is not going to keep all of this savings for itself. Otherwise, there would be no point for people to switch, right? Because they would be staying with, maybe there would be a point, but it would be a lower point. No, they share some of these savings with customers. So you have an inherently better product that wins over shallow marketing promises. And when I mean shallow marketing promises is, for example, oftentimes banks will thrive and say, oh, come here for customer service. We have the best customer service. Well, there's very little depth to that statement, because a lot of, every single company says that. So how do fintechs gain customers? Well, they gain customers through their deals, because they're able to give better deals. Legacy banks, how do legacy banks win customers? Well, sometimes they do M&A. They build very expensive branches. But more often than not, the result of the growth expansion of legacy banks includes more cost, right? It includes rent-seeking behavior, i.e. more and more fees because you're growing the system, so more costs on the business. And it's all about preventing the customer from switching away from the firm, and also very expensive marketing campaigns. Because the product is not as compelling for a legacy bank, they have to pay, on average $900 to acquire a customer. So the old structure is just so much more costly. It's inflationary, right? As the business grows, the costs grow. The other structure is, as the business grows, the costs go down, and the solution becomes even more compelling. And we start to see this right now. Like, let me just compare checking, like basic checking deals, and I think you'll understand right away what I mean here, because this is Sofi. So because Sofi has no branches whatsoever, right? They just have headquarters and corporate people. The business runs itself through apps and through backend infrastructure, and this is the kind of product that they're able to provide. So if you do direct deposit with Sofi, right? So if you do direct deposit with them, so you get a bunch of perks. But the most important one, which I think is what most people care about, is you get 3.75% APY. So that's absolutely stunning. that your checking account yields 3.75 APY, in addition to charging no account fees. So not only do you get 3.75, but charge no account fees. So you're going to see the delta is insane compared to what you get with legacy banks. So I believe customers have a strong incentive to switch because, for someone who keeps, say, on average, $10,000 on their account on average, a family with 2 working professionals, that's not out of the question. They would make what, $375, $400 a year. And if you include the other savings, maybe it adds up to $500 a year just for being a customer of Sofi, after tax, of course. So that's a lot of savings. That's a lot of savings. When it comes to the branches, right? When it comes to legacy branches, this is Bank of America, but I could have taken any of them. They pretty much have the same prices. So you would be comparing not the safe balance banking, which is kind of a niche product. You would be comparing the one in the middle, which is their full banking stack or infrastructure. And it's $12 a month unless you do direct deposit. So notice how Sofi, you don't have to do direct deposit. It's $0 a month whether you do direct deposit or not. What changes is the APY you get charged if you direct deposit. And you, of course, you get no interest. You get no interest at all, and you don't get any of the tiny things like cashback and automatic savings. You don't get that either, but especially you don't get any interest at all. And if you want to get interest with Bank of America on your checking account, which is a big deal. People care about that. I mean, that would be kind of the main choice, I believe, when you go to a checking account. So they have their advantage relationship banking. You need $10,000. You need $10,000 monthly balance on average on the checking account in order to not be charged a fee. Otherwise, it's $25. So again, going back to what I was saying, fee is a big part of the business. If somebody signs up for the advantage relationship account, you have to wonder if 1 month they're less than $9,000, or if for a full year they're at like $9,000, are you getting charged $25 a month? My bet is you would. You would, and so they're kind of making that bet. Maybe that people don't monitor as much. But here's the real sadness about it. I checked the interest rates. First of all, notice how we don't advertise the interest rates, right? You have to go download a PDF and type a zip code. But I checked the interest rates in Texas, and this is how much they give you in Texas. So and it depends on your tier, right? So the best tier they have is the Diamond Owners tiers, and you get 0.04%, right? So they have not been agile at all. They have not updated with the Fed, right? You get 0.04% with Bank of America, right? Against 3.75%. So we are in the 2 orders of magnitude realm here. This is 100 times better. So because of that, this is what I believe will happen. What will happen eventually over time is customers that are right here right now, they'll catch on and they'll see. Because when a product is 2 orders of magnitude better, there's just nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how much marketing you spend here. The product is 2 orders of magnitude better here, right? So my bet, and that's why I'm a Sofi shareholder, my bet is that people are going to switch to Sofi. They're going to switch to Nubank. They're going to switch to Cash App as their banking partner. Because those products are not 20% better, right? They are 100 times better. So, moving on. Agile. That's reason number 7 why I believe fintechs are going to win. We live in a turbulent world. There's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of innovation going on. And so firms today have to be agile. And for fintechs, and legacy banks as well, is we don't know what the popular product of tomorrow is going to be. You don't know. Nobody knows. But what we do know is that fintechs are able to make dozens of changes to their apps a year, depending on the demand of a customer. So you're able to change your offering, change your business, be reactive based on customer demand. Again, look at Sofi updating its rates. Right? The rates update live. They're not keeping the low rates. They update live with the changes in the business environment. That's being agile when you can do that. Customers expect agility. Like if they see a new product that they like, they want it and they want it now. And fintechs have the structure to be able to do that. Now look at legacy banks. Legacy banks, they're driven with legacy culture, with 1959 code, as I explained in the part one of this series. Legacy code, human resources, and legacy structure, i.e. branches, right? So human resources are amazing, and in fact, fintechs have some of the most amazing human resources, but they're corporate. They're corporate human resources that build the service, and the service runs itself. That's the way a modern corporation is run. In the world of legacy banks, it is human resources, tellers, associate bankers, all of that actually run the bank. And when the bank is run by your human resources directly, as opposed to corporate building a tech stack that runs itself in the form of an automated app, you have a problem that you just can't train employees that fast. Like dozens of changes per year. It's almost impossible to train people as fast as you can change a product that runs itself. So that's why agility matters more and more than ever. Employees, it's tough to train people. Anyways, the point is, it's not just reason 6 that matters. It's not just the prices. Prices are one thing, but you also have to match customer request and customers' demand. Last video I explained about products such as Bitcoin, right? Legacy banks still don't offer Bitcoin, even though millennials and Gen Z have spoken. They want Bitcoin. They actively take money out of their banks to send it to a crypto platform. Fintechs have that, banks don't. Right? They don't have product market fit, banks, on the crypto side. Fintechs have product market fit. So you need to have product market fit, and that means you need to be able to reconfigure the business multiple times a year depending on what the customers want. Right? The customers are used to what Amazon has told them. Amazon has told every customer that they're the king, they're the center of a relationship. They have to be satisfied. And the modern consumer expects the fintech to evolve with them. And I think that's a big change. Agile. Fintechs are much more agile than legacy banks. All right. Reason number 8. And this is perhaps a more controversial one, but I'll say it. So little to no human interaction. This is, when you listen to earnings calls or listen to the media about legacy banks, this is a criticism that they give fintech banks. They're like, well, you just deal with an app. Like, even if you go on forums, there's a lot of things. You just deal with an app. It's terrible. You can't see people in person. Even in advertising, like whenever you see advertising for legacy financial services, like, oh, we have no wait in our customer service. You can call. You can come see us right away. We have great hours. That's a marketing. But kind of like Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 book. The first chapter begins with what are one of the things that few people know. And that, I mean, there's many reasons, but I think this is something that few people in the investing world know right now, understand, and that I believe in is to me what I'm seeing in popular culture today is that many Gen Z, not all, yeah, right. This is a sweeping statement. So not all, but many, more than 50%. Gen Z and early millennials, to them, human interaction is not a plus. To them, human interaction is a downside. And you see this in so many industries. There's a reason why Teslas, for example, are so popular in this group. They don't want to have to deal with a dealership. They don't want to have to haggle. They want to click buy now, right? Open door. They want to click buy now and deal with an app. Like there's a whole trend of revolutions that are happening right now in innovation and in tech that happen because you remove the human element, which is a downside to these generations. And don't forget, these generations are the future. So human interaction is a downside. Walking into a branch is a downside, and it's going to be more and more a downside to a lot of people because the culture today does not like that. That's not part of a culture that's emerging. Human interactions are becoming more and more digital, and they're becoming more app to human interactions. So they prefer to interact with their phone, with an app. Go to a restaurant, Look at people that are teenagers. That's what they prefer. That's what they prefer. They don't want to talk on the phone or go in person. They do self-serve. They prefer self-serve. No matter what. At most, they'll do a chat. And if upset, they're more likely to tweet at customer service or to contact customer service in a DM on Instagram for the company they're upset at than they are to call. I mean, this is a perception. This is my anecdotal perception. I'm not saying this is true for all, but this is a trend that I think a few people in the traditional investing world would agree with me with. And so if I think about this premise that the customer of the future doesn't want any little to no human interaction, I believe they don't want that in the future, where we're headed. Then you have to kind of reverse the argument. So fintechs have little to no human interaction, sometimes, but it's very little. And I would argue this is a downside for many traditional customers, many, for example, of the legacy customers of banks, right? If you started banking in the 80s, that's going to be a downside for you because that's not what you're used to. So right now, this is a downside. Where the puck is now, this is the downside. But we're strategic investors, right? We're not investing, no investment advice, of course, but we're not investing for where it is now. We're investing for where it is headed. And I would argue that for the modern customer, for the modern tech-savvy customer, the fact that you have little to no human interaction is a plus to me, no doubt. And for banks, it's reverse. Like banks right now, they have the structure that fits many of the traditional customers, like where the puck is now, right? They're doing well right now because they have these networking branches. But I don't think the modern consumer is going to be compelled. I don't think the modern consumer is going to be compelled. And don't forget, that's where the puck is headed. You invest for the future. Stocks represent the present value of future cash flows. It's not cash flows of the past that matter. It's not even cash flows of today. It's cash flows of the future. Anyways, let me move on. Reason number 9. Oh, and this is a tough one. So, fintechs have they don't have but they have no or little, depending on which part of the fintech you look at, no or little human error. Because as I told you earlier, it's the app that does the day-to-day. The day-to-day transactions are handled by the app. The day-to-day transactions are not handled by humans. Like, what's an example of a day-to-day transaction? Opening a checking account or a savings account. That's one example of a day-to-day transaction. It's all the app that does it. This is Sofi, right? This is Sofi. I just fill your name, do next, and that's it, right? Legacy banks do a lot of these steps that are automated that involve no opportunity for human error or biases, right? This thing is all about removing the opportunity because no HR is gonna willingly hire someone who can make mistakes. Like they're gonna think they hire people who don't make mistakes, but we know humans make mistakes. So it's about minimizing the opportunity for mistakes. And when you automate everything, when you remove humans from the customer-facing delivery of a business, you're eliminating opportunities for mistake on the front end. The opportunities for mistake come only in the back end, right? Where humans that build the app, they make the mistakes. In a legacy bank, you have both. You have an opportunity for mistake in the back end, right? Just like a fintech, an error in the code somewhere. But you also have opportunities for mistakes in the front end, because it's people. When you deal with people, you're gonna have human error and biases that are going to be there. Like it's mandatory. Of course, not at the scale like you can have a business of 10 people where nobody makes mistake. But as Warren Buffett says, when you have 300,000 people working for a company, like I think Chase is 300,000 employees, you're gonna have opportunities for error. Like it's going to be really, really hard to be down to zero. So eventually, humans will make errors. That's kind of the whole idea, and this is kind of the stuff that can happen, right? Bank teller here. By the way, this is all within the past 3 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, 2023, right? Bank teller steals more than 28,000 dollars from an older lady. Here's another one that says that same a staff member refused to open a checking account for her. So you have a case of discrimination here, or at least there's a lawsuit for that. So I'm not. We're gonna have to see what the lawsuit says. How many of those happen, right, in legacy banks? Like it's probably much more common. So there is an opportunity for error which you don't have for fintechs. So I realize this is a long-winded argument here, but the opportunity for error is here. Okay. Lastly, reason number 10: banking the unbanked. Okay, banking the unbanked. So the unbanked are a tremendous opportunity for growth. In Latin America, but also in the U.S., and because it's like it's inducing new revenue, right? It's kind of like you're onboarding new business that is not yet to be onboarded. It's the next exploration is to onboard everyone to the business, right? If you don't have 100% penetration, you want to onboard everybody, and really, I would argue here that for this avenue, depending on the country, the last 10% or the last 30%, the last 50% of the citizens that do not have a bank, when you're trying to go after people who do not have a bank and to sign up with them, you're going to be much more equipped to do that if you are a fintech, because fintechs are very low cost, and so they are equipped to serve. They're equipped to serve unbanked populations much better than legacy banks. And for many reasons, why? Because they do it cheaper. The product is cheaper. They're more forgiving with their fees. And also they can scale faster. They can scale much faster. It's all about which is the first one to land that business is likely going to earn returns for a very long time. So fintechs can scale much faster with unbanked and bank more people faster than legacy banks. And what you see, legacy banks, of course, have noticed that opportunity, but they've noticed the opportunity the old way, which means that they're building branches. They're building branches in regions where or parts of cities where you have very, very few people banking. And that's extremely expensive. And as we said earlier, that's slow, because you have to build, you have permitting, you have to get the capital, you have to hire. It's very slow. It's very slow and it's very expensive. So JPMorgan, for example, is investing $30 billion to address underserved communities' needs and build branches. And actually, research, it's a little bit of old research, 6 years old now, but research showing that yes, fintechs are much better. Fintechs are much better at doing that than legacy banks for most applications. And so as this business opportunity of having the remainder of the population get a banking account, that's an opportunity. Who's best equipped to get it? And I would argue that fintech banks are better equipped to get it than legacy banks. Much better equipped. Okay, so that concludes my video. None of this was investment advice. That concludes my short series on the 10 reasons, right, why fintechs will win. If you haven't watched the first part, please, you can see it in the description. Thank you so much. I appreciate any like and any subscribe I can get, and you can also follow me on Twitter. I am active on Twitter. Thank you very much, and have a great day.